Hello everyone. Today we're going to be doing a science project that will be dealing with at least two of the components of STEM, which will be in the area of science and mathematics. The target audience for this experiment is ages 3 to 7. The title of our experiment today is Water Cycle in a Bag. This experiment will give insight to how the real water cycle takes place in nature. Like that during the winter months, the outside cool air that condenses windows because of the warm air from the house. It's going to give us your students the idea, or should I say, what would happen with the water cycle through the normal process through this experiment. Before we begin our experiment, we must make sure we have all the ingredients or all the supplies that we need to conduct this experiment, which is need 1/4 cup of water, which means that it requires you to have a measuring cup. You will need food coloring, the color blue. You need a small sandwich bag, a black Sharpie, and some tape. Now, before you begin with the liquid part, what you want to do is take your Sharpie, and on your sandwich bag you want to put and draw a sun, which is on the left side of the bag. The right side is a cloud, and then at the bottom of your sandwich bag you want to make little ripples like water. You want to have that all placed on your bag before you go any further. Once that is done, then we'll move to our next step, which is you want to take that 1/4 cup of water that's in your measuring cup, grab hold to your blue food coloring, and you want to take 4 big drops, and drop them within the water that's in the measuring cup. Now, once that is done, you want to take that 1/4 cup of water that's in your measuring cup, then you want to take and pour it into the small sandwich bag that you started out with, that has the drawing of the sun, the cloud, and the water. You want to pour all of the blue water content into the bag, because that's where the actual project, or should I say the experiment, is going to take place. Now, once that is done, you want to seal the sandwich bag starting from one corner, and you want to walk all the way across to the other corner, ensuring that all corners from corner to corner to the middle is secured tightly. That is to prevent any water from seeping out during the time of observing this experiment. Once that is done, everything is snug and tight. Our next step will be, you want to take the tape that you have, and you want to tear off 2 pieces, and you want to take one piece of the tape and tape it to the corner of the sandwich bag that has the content of the blue water, and then you want to take the other piece of tape and place it on the other corner of the sandwich bag and seal it to a window. And you really want it to be where there's a direct sunlight. When the sun does come up, that the sun can be directly hitting your bag, because that's where the whole experiment is going to take place. Now, once you have gotten that done, the next steps is where you're going to go through the process of observing. And this may go through a period of 1 or 2 days, all depending on you as the instructor, how long you want to run this experiment. And the first observation that you want to see is that let's say in the morning when the sun is rising, and have your student to go to that bag, and especially where the direct sunlight is hitting it, want to begin to observe one of two things. One, to see whether or not the water in the bag is starting to heat up. And if it's starting to heat up, what should take place, as you can see on the design, or should I say the PowerPoint slide, you see little bubbles of water. Those are indicators that the water has gotten hot, which means vapors are starting to come from the water because of the sun. And because there is no way in which the vapors can be released, the drops of water is indication that there is vapor, which is created by the sun, direct sunlight to the water. Then once you observe that, the next thing you want to observe at another time is where the sun is going down. And in that observation, you want to pay attention to once the water starts cooling, does it become condensed? Simply mean, does it now, as the vapor that was there earlier, once the water becomes to cool off, does it now becomes like a more condensed, more cloudy type of condensation that's inside the bag? And that is to give indication that the water is starting to cool off. And because of the temperatures are decreasing, now it's affecting the vapor that was in the bag earlier. And so now they can see that water not only rises when sunlight hits it, but it also becomes more condensed when the temperatures are cooler during the day. And what we want to continue to ensure that once the students are evaluating this, you may want to repeat the cycle again the next day and see what results they get from the previous day. That means the direct sunlight as well as the cooling that takes place at the end of the day. And once you begin to have them to take notice of that, then the other thing is you can remind them that when the weather does change, especially during the winter time, kind of put them in remembrance of this actual experiment. Like the weather outside, it's cool, and the heat from that's within the house, and say the windows look what we would call foggy, but of course the science terminology is condensation. And so they can begin to see how that experiment is really communicating how the water cycle takes place within the natural surroundings of where we live at. So I really believe it's a cool little experiment that I know it says ages 3 to 7, but I'm pretty sure it could be utilized for much older ages. But I think it's a real cool little experiment that can be done whether in a classroom or even those who are doing home studies. So I hope that you really truly enjoy this, and I believe from my own experience that the students will enjoy it as well.